Well, hey Jared, hey Nikki. So to get ready for the acid and base unit, let me just show you how I set stuff up for the classroom. And I will send all the supply lists and everything that you need. I'll send that in an email, but once you have that, then together this explanation and that list will really help a lot. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to need to prepare ahead of time some red cabbage, purple cabbage, whatever you guys call it over there. And what I do is I go to the store and just buy a head of the cabbage, chop it up maybe into quarters, and then put it in a fairly large pot with water so that the water covers the cabbage that's in the water or in the container, and then heat it up almost to boiling. And what's going to happen is the water's going to turn that kind of reddish purplish color. It's the water that you want. So once that's done, just get rid of the cabbage itself. You can eat it or whatever you want. But what you want is a fairly large amount of that cabbage juice, because that's what the students are going to use to test the various liquids. So to prepare the liquids, again, I'll send you a list, but let's say, for example, that I would want you to have vinegar. So on the day of the first exploration, ahead of time, prepare a cup that has vinegar in it. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. So with a marker, I like overhead markers or whiteboard markers. I'm using a permanent one here, but I just write on the side of it vinegar. And then I will fill this about halfway full with rice vinegar, whatever vinegar you've got. So just pour it in here, and it's about half full, maybe a little bit more than that. And then set that aside someplace on a table that the students can have access to. And then everything that's on my list, you are going to create a container that has that liquid in it. So another one is going to be either lemonade or lemon juice. So I did have an overhead marker. I'd mark it lemonade, and again, I would fill that up with about half full of lemonade. And so then I've got all of these liquids in these cups on a table someplace. Now, every student is going to need a tray that has a little depression that they can put some drops of liquid in. Ice cube trays work really well. These are called chem trays. I actually got them from a chemical supply store. And every kid will also need a medicine dropper. So then at each table group, you will have a cup that is the cabbage juice. So let me mark that one for you. I'm just going to put CB for cabbage juice. You'll need a full cup of this at every table group. So the kids are ready to go to work now. They've got full cabbage juice with a medicine dropper in it. They've got an ice cube tray or a chem tray. And then one student from that table group will go over to that other place where you've got all these liquids marked in the containers. So they'll bring back lemonade, or however many, I just have them carry two at a time. So they would bring back lemonade and vinegar to their table group. Set those 2 cups down, and there will be droppers in those cups as well. And so each kid at the table is going to take a little bit of lemonade, stick it in one of their little trays right here. And they only need a few drops. They'll probably fill it about quarter of the way full. And then they're going to do the same thing with the lemon or with the vinegar. They'll take some vinegar and they'll put that in one of those trays. At this point, it's really important that the students are writing down what material, what solution is in each one of those trays. And then your runner, your student who's taking these back and forth to that table, can take these back, and then they can bring back 2 others. And this kind of works in succession that way. So now I've got lemonade in one of these, I've got vinegar in one of these, I've got baking soda and water in one of these. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cabbage juice, put it in a dropper, and then put some cabbage juice in with the lemonade, and it'll change color. And so they're going to write down on their piece of paper, lemonade turned whatever color. Then they'll do the same thing with the vinegar. They'll just drop that in there. That's going to turn a different color. Same thing with tea, with coffee, with water. And what they're going to find is each one of those is going to turn a different color. So that's the general setup. It's sort of a kind of a logistical challenge, to get the kids to stay in their seats, but one student is kind of moving back and forth for each group. But that's how that works. So then the reason that I have you create these is the next activity, a different day, that's where we're going to use litmus paper, and they will need those same solutions that they had with the cabbage juice. Then the students will each need the blue litmus paper and the red litmus paper. That's activity number 2. Activity number 3 is we'll do the same thing with those same solutions, but this time we're going to use pH paper. And then I have an activity number 4 after I talk about the science behind what's going on. And for that activity, you'll just need like some vinegar and like an antacid tablet for each table group as well. And I'll write that all up in an email. So that's kind of the basic setup. So take a look at the email. Hopefully this helps as well. I'll see you guys. And also for me, I think you guys are back at school on the 20th. I'm actually out of town that week. So the soonest that I could meet with you guys would be like the week of the 27th. And if we wanted to do like 2 days in a row and then wait till the next week and do 2 more days in a row, that works for me. Okay? I'll put that in the email as well. Thanks. Hope that helps. Bye-bye.